Hey, before we get going here, I want to talk about the beer sponsor of this show. You guys already know it's a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. We got Jim Miller on today's episode. I'd love to have a Miller with Jim Miller.
How about that, Ed?
How about that is right.
And, you know what? I don't know Jim very well, but I can tell you right now that he's a Miller Lite guy.
Oh, yeah.
Just by looking at him.
You can't have that name and not be.
He is.
I not have that name and not be.
We didn't ask him. I know for a fact he is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Might get me to get a Miller 96 jersey.
Yeah.
96 calories.
Yeah.
You guys know the drill here. Holiday party season is right around the corner. Obviously, the holidays itself, college football playoff, riding out this Bears season. Miller Lite's going to be there for you. You can get it delivered right to your door and make more memories at the year-end gatherings when you go to MillerLite.com/midshow to find delivery, and you can find delivery options near you, or you could pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. It tastes like Miller time. Just make sure you celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer. All right, let's get into the interview. All right, welcome back to a Friday episode of the interview version of The Stretch. We are joined by former Bears quarterback Jim Miller. Jim, how are you? It's great to see you. Great to finally have you on. I think we tried to do something with you earlier in the year, but I'm finally happy it came to fruition. How's everything going?
Yeah, it's good to be here on the stretch. Yeah, good to be with you guys. Yeah, it's been a long year. A lot's been going on.
We're going to get into, obviously, the current state of the team, but I just want you to know that I still hate Hugh Douglas. I do.
So do I. 6 surgeries later, it took me to get my shoulder right.
Is that right? You had to have 6 because of Hugh?
Yeah, 6 surgeries it took to get my shoulder right, but I was able to go back and play. But it took a while to get my shoulder right. So it's stronger now than it's ever been.
Damn, what was the diagnosis?
I torn a couple of rotator cuffs, and then I screwed up my bicep tendon and the deltoid, and then it got infected and just all kinds of issues. I had to do a Weaver-Dunn procedure on it. It was a mess.
Damn.
So everything.
Yeah.
So it's just everything got broken. Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically a reconstruct is what it was.
Did they give you like the Rookie of the Year bionic arm or were you hoping for that at least?
It feels good now. It feels great.
Go out there and sling it.
Yeah. Oh, so like no problems now? Like there's no when I sleep
no issues. Yeah, I go out, I play catch with my kids. I got no issues. Like I said, it's stronger now than it's ever been.
Oh, that's good then. There you go.
Yeah. Great.
So all right, Jim, the state of the Bears. You asked us how's everyone hanging up. We've reached the point of just being numb and just beyond sad. What's your perspective sitting out there in Michigan and seeing what's happening with the team right now?
Yeah, I think 2 years in a row that the Bears have sold hope and goodwill, and it's kind of blown up in everybody's face. It's blown up in the fans' face. You go back last year into week 1 against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, shoot, there were people that predicted Justin Fields was going to be MVP and the Bears were going to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. It's delusions of grandeur. Now Justin's no longer here. You have this long courtship where you clear the deck of any competition. You court Caleb Williams with Shane Waldron, who Caleb had his hand in the cookie jar. He was a part of that decision as well, to get everything on, to get him on board of being a Chicago Bear and everything. And then here 9 weeks later, they fire Shane Waldron. So my opinion of it, it's a rudderless ship, and it's been a rudderless ship for a long time, not just these last 2 years.
Does that date back to when you were with them? I mean, that's 20 years or whatever. I mean, did you see that when
Jerry Angelo was put in place, and obviously Lovie Smith, and they had a lot of success, and then Jerry Angelo. And so I think between the GM and the coach now, there's been a disconnect, since Jerry Angelo has moved on. I think that would be fair to say. And that marriage, that courtship between GM and coach GM, coach quarterback, none of them have married up.
Yeah. Yeah, and we are always of the opinion that it goes a level higher than that it goes up to George, and maybe I don't know how much Virginia is involved at this point, but that to us is where it all starts. So do you think that there is somebody in that room now that can be like, take control of this situation and get it back on the rails?
Well, I think that's where it is. And I think that's what they're trying to sort out right now. Is it the new president, Kevin Warren? Is it Ryan Poles? Is it George McCaskey? I mean, is it the new head coach? We don't know. Will there be a new GM? I mean, that all has to sort itself out, and then there has to be a hierarchy in place that everybody agrees upon, and that's where it is. But the bottom line is this. They have to pick the right guy. I think we know that. They have to make the right decision to pick the right guy. And everybody always asks me, what comes first? Every coach is going to tell you they need great players. I think we know Lou Anarumo, I'll use him as the example, the defensive coordinator of Cincinnati. They were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. All right, he didn't all of a sudden become a bad coach because they're struggling defensively. Okay, I think we all know you need good players. But what comes first? The coach or the player? The coach always comes first, because then the coach can decide what type of players he wants that he's going to deploy and the type of team and vision and all those things. So the coach always comes first, in my opinion. Like when Bill Belichick drafted Tom Brady in the 6th round, and they realized what they finally had in him and inserted him into the lineup. The coach decided to do that. That was a young player at that point, but the coach decided to make that move and bench Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, well,
so the coach decided that.
As you know, Jim, the Bears don't abide by that at all. 3 times in a row, we just completely ignored that, and even before that, we have. And
and it looks like they're doing that right now.
They are. They're 100% because they need a new coach, and it's going to be year 2. It's just
and
negligent.
Like right now, if they think that they should go to Caleb Williams and ask for his input on the next head coach, that'd be a big mistake. A big mistake. They need to decide who their head coach is, and that head coach, he needs to lay down the law. The tail can't wag the dog any longer. Mm-hmm. Those players have to perform. They shelled out a lot of money, and those players have to perform, and the coach has to be the one to get it done.
Do you have any opinion on who the next coach should be? Is there a guy that you like, that you think, all right, we need this type of guy, we need an offensive mind, we need a culture guy? Where do you lie on that whole?
You're the GM of the Bears, Jim. Yeah. Like, you're the GM tomorrow. Who are you hiring to lead Caleb Williams?
Well, everybody's going to gravitate towards an offensive guy because of the development of Caleb. But that's not true. That's not true. Look at the defense. Look at John Harbaugh. They've developed Lamar Jackson. Look at the other defensive coordinators that have developed quarterbacks. DeMeco Ryans, he's doing a good job with C.J. Stroud. So those guys are capable of doing it as well. You need a leader of men. A leader of men. That needs to be the first criteria.
That sounds I think that sounds like Vrabel to me. Is that who you're?
Vrabel's a leader of men. Dan Campbell's a leader of men. Mm-hmm. There's Bill Belichick. There's a leader of men. Pete Carroll. There's a leader of men. We can go on at the college level. Lane Kiffin. There's a leader of men. I mean, there's a lot of guys that fit that criteria. But that first and foremost, because I think we see here, I come to you from Motown, you can lead a horse to water to drink. And all the Detroit Lions, they're lapping up all the water they can for their head coach. Mm-hmm. Okay? They are.
No, you're right. You're right. And I think Campbell it's not that far out where this guy was being mocked relentlessly, right?
Think about what Jamal Adams just said the other day. Jamal Adams was signed, like literally, they signed 4 guys 3 days ago, and they played in the game that they just beat Green Bay. Mm-hmm. 3 days the coaches had to get those players prepped. Do you know what Jamal Adams said? He goes, it was a no-brainer to sign with Detroit with what Dan Campbell's got going on.
Yeah.
The players around the league know it. They want it. They want a part of it. It's become now a destination, a travel destination for free agents out there. They want to sign up for it. He's a hard-nosed coach that says, you're going to go out, you're going to play hard, you're going to work hard, you're going to play till the whistle blows, and you're never going to give up. You're never going to give up. They target those type of guys, and guess what? Guys are signing up for it. Jamal Adams just stated it. He signed up for it because that's what he wanted.
Now, on that note, with how kind of rotten the organization has been, there's been stories that came out recently that Kevin Warren might, I don't know if this is true or not, but it said Ryan Poles might not have taken the job had he known that he was going to have to answer to Kevin Warren and there was going to be a liaison between him and ownership. And whether that's true or not, do you see a leader of men wanting to enter into a situation where it's kind of the rudderless ship still that you just said it, that the Bears are, or do you think that they look at the roster construction, which we all know has talent, and says, okay, I can work around that?
Yeah, I think you have to find a coach that is willing to work with Ryan Poles if he is indeed going to remain the GM. Mm-hmm. So that first and foremost, like you said, and the coach, if it's a seasoned coach, he may have a totally other game plan. You know, when they come in and they say, hey, we're going to interview, say, Bill Belichick. Well, Bill Belichick's actually interviewing the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Because he's going to say, right. Is this in place? Is this in place? Is this in place? Is this in place? Because if these aren't in place, I don't want this job. Okay? So he may go in there and say, no, I'll decide the roster. Kevin Warren needs to worry about the new stadium. Mm-hmm. I'll worry about the team. You know, so that could be happening too, you know, with these interviews, especially with the seasoned coach. These newbies that are taking any job out there, like Dave Canellis, I mean, who wanted the Carolina job?
Nobody.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Nobody. Mm-hmm. You know, the Bears job is a good job because it's got a quarterback. They do have talent. Like you said, it's a great fan base. You've got history that you can sell. But like you said, that hierarchy has to be decided.
Hey, let's pause from talking to Jim Miller because I want to talk about Pop-Tarts. You guys know what I was just thinking about?
What's that?
Pop-Tart mascot that got eaten last year at the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Great mascot. I'll never forget it.
That was wild.
Yeah. Just
seeing people devour, it's like, you know,
it
was like the scene from Hook. Everyone was just digging in on a Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
But this year they got a new crazier twist. They got 3 new Pop-Tarts mascots that are joining the party, and they're competing to see who gets toasted and eaten in this year's Pop-Tarts Bowl. And yeah, it's exactly how it sounds. Three mascots enter, 1 gets eaten, and we're all here to witness it. That's one of those things where I'd love to go. Like, just I'd love to be in that Hook situation where I could scoop a little,
all the colorful food.
Yeah, just scoop a little score off of that Pop-Tart.
Off the Pop-Tart, yeah.
That's a bucket list thing for me. So to get fans into the action, Pop-Tarts is asking them to vote for which mascot they think will get eaten at the Pop-Tarts Bowl for the chance to win a piece of the winning edible mascot and a year's worth of Pop-Tarts toaster pastries. No purchase necessary. See poptarts.com/bowl for more details. So mark your calendars because the 2024 Pop-Tarts Bowl kicks off December 28th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. 2 teams, 3 edible mascots, and a packed Camping World Stadium in Orlando. Catch all the crazy good moments and get a sneak peek of each mascot by following at Pop-Tarts US and at Pop-Tarts Bowl on social and visiting poptarts.com/bowl. This year, Pop-Tarts is bringing more flavor, more fun, and a whole lot of excitement. Don't miss it.
Yeah, what do you make of Caleb Williams so far? Have you been impressed? It seems like I don't know, you made a couple comments where it's like, oh, I don't know if Jim Miller is all on board with Caleb Williams the way that we are in this room.
Yeah, I think you see the confidence waning. Yeah. You know, the sacks are mounting on him, and I think you see that he's taken on more water as the season has gone on. I think he's displayed good leadership. I think he's tough. I do think he's talented. I don't think he's getting a lot of help. Let's put it that way. But for him, you know, it's kind of baptism by fire. And again, I can't blame him because these were decisions above him. I thought they never should have gotten rid of Justin Fields. I don't know why they would just anoint Caleb Williams right away. I think you could have traded away Caleb Williams and gotten more for him, or Justin Fields, and gotten more for him as the year went along. There's been, you know, subtle stories in the locker room that the guys wanted to make a change at quarterback. How does that feel to a young quarterback? You know, and his confidence, knowing that other guys in the locker room want to make a change. So he's dealt with a lot. I like him. I think he's talented, but you got to be able to develop him. I do know this.
Do you think the roster
this year has stunted his growth? It's stunted his growth, is what it's done.
Yep.
That's what the Bears do.
Yeah.
That's exactly
That's what the Bears are. That if they exceed at anything, that's what they exceed at or excel at.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, you were with the Steelers and the Bears. As far as we're concerned, two night and day differences of how teams are operated.
I look at the Steelers with the consistent success. They've had 3 coaches for their the last 50 years. Did you feel that kind of cultural difference between Pittsburgh and Chicago in the locker room?
I think both teams, you feel the history, the tradition as soon as you walk in the door. You know, when you walk in the Pittsburgh Steelers front door, they've got all their Lombardis there represented, and you know what the standard is and you know the expectation. I think that's presented when you walk in Hallis Hall. I think it's presented that you realize, there is a lot of history. There is a lot of tradition. They've got the most Hall of Famers that are out there in the NFL. But there's something missing in the building. Okay, the Steelers believe in patience. They believe in development, not only with players, they believe in development of people, development of coaches, development of organization. So the Rooney family have a tremendous amount of patience where they allow a coach to grow. They know Chuck Noll was a seasoned coach, but when they hired Bill Cowher, they knew it was going to take time for him to grow. And they knew when they hired Mike Tomlin, they feel he had all the qualities of a leader of men, but it's going to take time for him to grow. Now look at Mike Tomlin. He doesn't have a losing season. Mm-hmm. So they just display patience and they develop people. Because it's a people business. It's a person business. Whether it's guiding a team or an entire organization, it's a people business.
And do you think the Bears don't treat it as a people business?
Well, I think so. I think, loyalty is a great trait to have. And I think that the Bears display a lot of loyalty. I think the McCaskey family, I mean, look at all those employees that have worked there their entire lives.
Yeah.
So, they're loyal to the Bears, and the Bears are loyal to them. And that's a good trait. That's a good trait to build upon in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as being a quarterback, this roster construction, are you at the point where you view it as negligent, considering, we decided to we went with Rome at 9, and it's kind of like you look at it, it's like we went with the ATV or the side-by-side when really we could have used someone up front. We needed an excavator or a mower, a riding mower, Do you,
well, see, this is the philosophy, though. This is like the Kyle Shanahan philosophy, obviously, where Shane Waldron is from. Right, he comes from Sean McVay, who's a disciple of Kyle Shanahan. Mm-hmm. Okay, they were both in Washington with his father, Mike, while he was helping them along in their careers. All right, what do the 49ers believe in, Kyle Shanahan? We want players who can score touchdowns. Okay, they believe that they can hide offensive linemen. And in some degree, the Chiefs believe that too. Okay, we've got Patrick Mahomes who can negotiate a lot of things. They just signed DJ Humphries because Patrick, negotiates a lot of things. They had issues with their tackle position, right? So my point is this. 49ers and somewhat the Chiefs do pay their offensive linemen, but the 49ers believe we pay the players that score touchdowns. We'll find anybody can play guard. Anybody can play left guard. That's how they believe in it. So they'll pay their playmakers, and they'll score their touchdowns. But that's all through scheme and all that. So in some degree, that's what Shane Waldron believed in. But that's tough to do with a rookie quarterback. And plus, he's not the play caller that Kyle Shanahan is. Mm-hmm. That guy, he's the best in the business.
Well, when you look at this roster construction, do you think if you had an Andy Reid, a Kyle Shanahan, one of these guys, and you gave them the exact same roster, do you think the results would be significantly different?
Yeah, I do. Like Sean Payton, that's a masterful play caller. He's keeping Bo Nix in his wheelhouse. he's doing a nice job with him. Andy Reid is a great play caller. And so, look at the quarterbacks Andy Reid has developed. I mean, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
Brett Favre, McNabb.
Yeah.
I mean, traded for Alex Smith, who was on the scrap heap, and said, hey, he's a winner. I know I can win with him. And he won with him and then drafted Patrick Mahomes. So, they're out there. There's plenty of guys that can develop guys and fix the offensive line as well.
Yeah,
that was their philosophy, and obviously they didn't do it because they're not skillful enough play callers.
Yeah, we are officially into mock draft season, and what Ed was saying, it's like they put in a pool while the roof was leaking with that pick. That's kind of how it, in hindsight, and I liked the Rome Odunze pick, but looking back, it does feel like a luxury draft pick when, man, the offensive line has been a problem. So
shame on Caleb. Remember when they drafted Torrey Taylor? Oh, we won't be using you that much.
Yeah.
The gall.
Yeah.
The gall.
Yeah, a lot of us put our, the horses in front of the cart for sure.
We all did as fans, and Poles did as an executive, but like my dumb brain looks at everything that's going on with the Bears right now, but I'm looking ahead and I see all this cap space available. You're going to have another high pick because they very well could lose out. You're going to have Carolina's pick again early in the second. You're going to have an early second. You're going to have 3 picks in the first 40-ish or so picks. To me, it's like, all right, the problem is very, very in front of our face, and the solution is very easy to make. You take the best offensive lineman available with your early pick, you sign a guy or trade for a guy, and then you have the 2 early second rounders and then it's off to the races, in my head at least. Obviously you have to find the coach, but I think you can repair this offensive line in one fell swoop this offseason, and I think next year.
I totally agree. I think they should be able to do that. And they're going to have to. Because here's why. Look at the differential of point totals. The NFC North is killing everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Minnesota's averaging 35 a game. I mean, Detroit's averaging, 40? They've had 50 burgers. Yeah. The Bears are going to have to be able to score points. They have to. So in order to help the young quarterback, you better be able to run the ball and play good defense. That's first and foremost. They haven't done that very well. That's why they lead the league in sacks. So, the offense has to be addressed, specifically the O-line, and they have to be pass protection conscious when they do elect to pass, but they have to be able to run the ball to take some pressure off of Caleb. So it's been few and far between the whole year.
Hey, I want to talk about ChevyDriveChicago.com as well. Your local Chevy dealer wants to give you a chance to cheer on the Bears in person on October 22nd versus Detroit. We know where things are, but hey.
Dude, it's still always great.
Yes, the day at the game is always great. So December 22nd versus Detroit. We'll hook you up with some new Barstool merch as well for the season. This season has taken us for a ride, and there's no better ride than a new Chevy. Shop at your new Chevy. Shop for your new Chevy at your local Chevy dealer. Head to ChevyDriveChicago.com to enter to win. And while you're there, check out that fleet.
Check out the fleet. Bring your car in. Get the service done. Get your car right for the winter. And this is, right before the holidays. You enter to win this. You win those tickets. Boom. That's a gift. Be like, hey, Dad. Hey, bro. We're going to the game.
That is. That's a nice gift. That's a nice gift that you can just win. I like where your head's at.
Yep.
And if you're going up to Minnesota, make sure everything is tightened up in that car. Get that oil changed. Make sure all the tires are rotated, good to go, because you don't want to be stuck on the side of the road and have somebody in purple helping you out.
Right.
Who might,
who might not.
Yeah, he might not.
Yeah.
Exactly. So one more time, head to ChevyDriveChicago.com to enter to win. You think the Bears are just kind of screwed, Jim? Because in a sense, you look at this division and how good it is, and I know it's cyclical, and I know all these teams aren't going to be good every year, but it feels like a really steep climb right now.
If you don't make the right decisions of who's going to lead these guys, you got to have the right leader in place. So it stems from the coach, is my opinion. So the coach is going to be paramount. They had an opportunity a couple years ago to hire Bruce Arians. He's a colorful guy. He's going to say things you don't like. He can be pretty gruff, but he's a good coach.
He's a really
and he can
coach.
win.
Yeah. Was that a rule there in the Bears organization when you were there? Was it not? They didn't want that. Like they tried to.
Well, I think they made it clear on Hard Knocks they didn't want any cuss words, which is fine. I mean, they have that prerogative. They didn't want it aired or viewed. And so what does that narrow your choices down to? Are we just going to hire a Catholic high school principal? Is that the only criteria now to lead the Bears?
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
So, their best coach was Mike Ditka. He was a pretty gruff guy. He was a pretty hard-nosed guy.
Yeah.
Good point.
But a guy who had noted problems with the McCaskey family. So
yeah.
It's kind of hard to see them going back to that.
Well, you hire a football guy who can lead men. That's what they need.
Yeah. I worry that the people on top don't even know what that is.
Yeah, that's I don't even know if they care. They don't care.
No, they care.
Right?
They care deeply. Hey, that is a family-owned business that is, it's been around for a long time, and their history in this league is second to none in what they've done with Papa Hallis, and they got to get this right. Let's put it this way: since Papa Hallis has passed, and since Ed has passed, and I used to have great conversations with Ed in the training room. Something's been lost, and they've got to find that back. They've got to get it, and they're trying to do everything they can to do it. Whether it's hiring Kevin Warren or Ryan Poles, they've made change, but you can't just make change to change.
Yeah.
Okay. I think when you build up that goodwill has to mean something. And 2 times I think that's failed the past 2 years. That goodwill has been broken. And so they got to get this right.
Yeah,
it's very important.
I am broken. I think I predicted like 10 wins each of the last 2 years. Minimum, like that was like this team is good because you look at them on paper and you're like this team is dangerous. They're good. They figure out the quarterback play, and it's like I'll never get burned again. I'll never believe until they're like taking a knee in the Super Bowl. Like that's the next time I'll believe.
Yeah. Well, you just want to see them function properly. I mean, just even. It's hard to watch games, man. There's no flow.
Yeah.
Again, the clock management, the things that have happened and gone awry this year, you shake your head. Even the discipline of players. That's why I said the tail's wagging the dog.
Yeah.
I mean, Stevenson in that Washington game, he's not even doing his job. He's not even paying attention.
Yep.
How is that guy even lined up the next week? And, basically walks off the practice field and says, I'm not practicing today. What? The tail was wagging the dog.
Yeah.
All right. That needs to end.
Did Jerron have good control over a locker room?
Yeah. Did Jerron let you know right away? Hey, guys, I'm just letting you know. I don't care who you are, whether you're Brian Urlacher or whether you're the last long snapper on the practice squad. You're not on time for a meeting. You're getting fined. All right. Anything conduct detrimental, you're fined. Dude, there was no favoritism at all. Everybody knew the rules. He laid it out from day one.
Yep.
Did you ever get fined?
Yeah, I've gotten fined. Last night at training camp, we always went out as a team. Guess what? Everybody got fined. We all knew it.
Yeah.
And we all knew it. Last day in Kankakee, we all went out. We all got fined.
What kind of bars were you guys hitting in Kankakee?
Just right across from the dorms. There's that little pool hall right across from the dorms. So that was our last day of camp. We'd go out, we'd mingle with all the press corps. Jeff Joniak was there, Tom Thayer was there, Brad Biggs was there, everybody was there. Last day of camp, and everybody had a good time.
How important is like the sleepaway training camp? We had another guy on here saying like, when they move it to Hallis Hall. They have training camp there, and everybody just sleeps in their own house. Like it doesn't build the same type of culture continuity that you get inherently from being like we're gonna be in hell for 3 weeks or a month together.
No air conditioning.
Yeah.
Like
do you think that's true? Do you think you get more out of the going away?
No, I did like going away just to focus on football. Mm-hmm. I personally, I like that. But that's when you had true 2 days, and it was kind of a true grind where it kind of took up all of your day.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they just want it to be a normal day of work. They don't want to pack up the weight room or the training room and move it, 200 miles south or north or whatever. And I get that. But yeah, bonding and camaraderie is a part of it. That still happens. But what gets lost is the fans. Because to me, the National Football League is the only sport where you had training camps where fans could come, go there, have an up-close and personal experience. Me as a player, I kind of wanted to put on a show for the fans that did come out that were Bears fans, and all that's lost. The Major League Baseball doesn't offer that. The NBA doesn't offer that, but training camp did for NFL fans. And it's a shame that they're going away and everybody is doing these in-house. So, we'd show up at Bourbonnais, there would be 40,000 people there on a Saturday.
It's crazy.
Now at Hallis Hall, they can only accommodate, 10,000?
Yeah.
10,000? So the fans lose, in my opinion. And those are future generations of kids that could become football fans that are there when you go to a training camp and it's free of charge and, you're there watching a practice. It's a pretty cool experience. No other pro sports league can offer that.
I do remember my kid brother getting an R.W. McQuarters autograph.
Yeah, R.W.
Yeah, R.W. Yeah.
I do think that's one of those things that will change. Like, I think that'll come back around.
Yeah.
I do.
I hope so.
It's too much of a, like you said, bonding experience where people are going to realize, like, hey, we got to fix this.
Yeah.
And like to his point, the day I got my driver's license, we were hightailing it down in my buddy's mom's minivan to Bourbonnais every year.
Yeah.
The end of every summer. So
yeah, it was cool.
It was awesome.
I enjoyed going to Platteville. I enjoyed going to Bourbonnais. I loved it.
Well, also, that playoff game, they ripped down famously Soldier Field after the game, after we lost. When was the last time you've been to Soldier Field?
Well, the preseason, I called the preseason game. So yeah, it would have been the preseason.
So knowing
was
that,
the last time I was there.
Obviously, then you did a year in Champaign. Like, it's time for a new stadium, right? Like, do you stand in the same spot? Do you hold on to nostalgia because you were one of the last teams to play, or what do you think about the stadium situation?
Yeah, I wish they never would have ripped down Old Soldier Field because it was a very intimidating place to play. When you flew in and you bust in from the airport and you looked up at those big columns, it felt like you were going in and being a gladiator, so to speak. It was an intimidating place, Old Soldier Field. And then when they tore it down, I actually bought a couple of the seats. Bought a seat with my jersey number on it because, I thought it was a historical place. I wish they would have kept it. But I wish they wouldn't have been short-sighted in what they built, because all that revenue now goes to Indianapolis because of Lucas Oil Stadium. It's domed. They get Big Ten championships. They get Final Fours. And all that revenue was lost because it should have come to Chicago, in my opinion. What city has the greatest restaurants and stores and entertainment and accommodations with hotels, which is much more than what Indianapolis can offer? And I thought Chicago lost out big time by that was just a short-sighted decision, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, then. We could wrap this up, Jim. Anything you want people to get out there, or what are you working on now, or what's going on?
Yeah, you can check out Moving the Chains every weekday from 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm with Pat Kerwin. We take on all the NFL. We've got a lot of weekly coaches that join us, like Todd Bowles joins us, Mike McDonald, Dan Quinn joins us as well. We just cover the NFL. And then, of course, I do Bears Weekly every now and then during the year just to check in with Jeff and Tom. But it's fun. I enjoy it. Like I said, football keeps my head in the game, man. I love it. I'm a lifer.
There we go. All right, Jim. Appreciate you. F. Hugh Douglas, and go Bears.
All right, guys. Go Bears.
All right. Thanks, Jim.